Greetings, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online. It is March 31st, and I'm enjoying a brisk morning in my location. And I want to add an amendment. This is a video about yesterday's video regarding statutory rape. And I want to add an amendment as a result of a conversation I had about that video I made. It was suggested that if it's just to recap, to review, the subject of that video was that the spirit of the law of the statutory rape law, which is pretty commonly known, it's understood what it means. Here in this place, it's 18 and under is if they have sex with an adult, someone who's over 18, it is considered statutory rape. And my point of the video was that yes, only if there is an objection or a problem. That is the spirit of the law. Just like with every law, if there's no problem, there hasn't been a crime until there is a problem, at which point the symbols can be invoked. There can be investigation, prosecution if needed, etc. So anyway, not to review too much, but it was suggested by somebody I talked to after they had seen the video, and they suggested that people will be concerned about my proposal that there's effectively no hard limit of what's proper or what's legal, and it hinges entirely on the idea that there must be a substantial complaint or a problem, which people are afraid there might not be there, or there will be coercion. I understand. I want to go on record saying I get the argument. I'm not confused about that people can be influenced. There's groomers, there's cultures, there's cults, places that brainwash people, and there may never be a complaint. I get that. But here's the thing. I want to respond to this with a new idea, actually. I want to append my video. So first of all, my idea is about having, when you have a limit, like a hard age, whether it's 18 or 30 or 10, that limit becomes a reason for people to not practice and use impulse control. And I'm going to say that again. By creating rules and demands and expectations, whether it's about statutory rape or something else, you give people a reason to not think independently, to not question their own behavior. And more importantly, at this point in time, especially in this part of the world, people are so out of practice with independent thought and impulse control in general, they are doing whatever they can get away with within the rules, because that's become the common practice. So hopefully that makes sense. So the flip side of that coin is when you remove those barriers, when you remove the rules, but you keep the potential consequences in the event of a complaint or a problem, you give them a powerful incentive to start thinking. Now here's the opportunity. When you say, yeah, you can do that, which they already can, if we're being honest, people can and do commit crimes every day. They can and still will be allowed to do that, but you're giving them actually the freedom that they already have, but you're making it official with my plan. You're saying, go ahead, do what you got to do. But if it turns out she changes her mind, that is, if you influenced her or you pursued it, which you probably shouldn't be doing with anybody, that's a different conversation, but then you're on the hook for a very serious crime, and you're gonna have a bad time about it. I hope. Anyway, so, and I'm gonna wrap this up. It's gonna be a short video, 5-minute video. So I have a proposal to kind of smooth this concern about having a limit, a hard limit, and still being able to preserve people's freedom and their incentive to think for themselves and use impulse control. So my idea is we stick with the number 18, but it's not what it is now. It becomes part of a very, very simple formula, hear me out, whereby if everything I said comes to fruition, like if there's a complaint and it's investigated, substantiated, documented, prosecuted, and someone is convicted, the penalty becomes, now hear this out, this is going to be interesting. You take the number 18 and you subtract the person's age, and that's the number of years you're going to get. How do you feel about that? Starts to make a lot more sense. So it's dynamic. And it still does what I'm saying, where people, you know, if you're feeling lucky and you're a decent person and it's true love and that person is of a substantial mental age to make consensual decisions, which happens, that base is covered. However, if you're doing something you shouldn't, the penalty's still there, and it gets real serious real fast. So anyway, just an idea. This could be expanded to other subjects, other infractions, behaviors, but that's another video. So I hope you have a great day, and reach out if you have questions to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thanks again.